Today is Saturday, February 11th. With Valentine's Day in just a few days, we are focusing on love, relationships, and dating in 2023. Like, what does it take to sustain a healthy romantic relationship? You'll hear the top do's and don'ts from a licensed marriage and family therapist who has become popular on TikTok with his helpful advice for couples. But first, what is new and trending when it comes to dating? I'm talking with certified dating coach, host of the Dates and Mates podcast, and the official love expert of the Drew Barrymore Show, my friend Damona Hoffman. She's sharing the latest trends on dating apps, including the new role politics seems to be playing. We also talk about the types of dates people prefer now, tips for this Valentine's Day, and so much more. Welcome to the Newsworthy Special Edition Saturday, when we sit down with a different expert or celebrity every Saturday to talk about something in the news. Don't forget to tune in every Monday through Friday for our regular episodes, where we provide all the day's news in 10 minutes. I'm Erica Mandy. It's now time for today's Special Edition Saturday. Damona, thanks for coming back on the Newsworthy.
Thanks for having me.
So first, tell us a few of the top dating trends that you're seeing right now in 2023.
Well, I love looking at the year-end data reports that OkCupid and Match and Tinder, all the dating apps put out, because they really give us a picture of what's happening on the ground in dating and what people's true behaviors are. And there's some interesting trends happening, starting off with just the way that we communicate. I often talk to my Dates and Mates listeners about using emojis to convey a lot more than they can say just with text. And according to Tinder, the number one emoji last year was the P, like the old parking emoji. But do you know what it stands for now? It stands for positivity. And this is popping up on profiles all over as people are saying, I want to have a positive dating experience. I want to invite someone into my life with positivity. And so they put the P parking emoji, and that is certainly trending.
What's the biggest change that you're seeing in 2023 compared to past years when it comes to dating?
Well, one thing that I've seen increase in popularity is sober dating. This is a trend. I think we might have even talked about it last year, but it's becoming even more popular all across the apps. Last year, there was a 19% increase in mentions of sober on OkCupid profiles, and 72% of Tinder members say that they don't drink or only drink occasionally when we look at their profiles. So what this says to me, and by the way, this is also being driven significantly by the Gen Z daters. And a lot of people are realizing that's actually kind of a good idea to go on dates with a clear head, without any expectations, and really just show up and have an authentic connection. And we're also seeing that the classic date is changing. We're really seeing that dinner dates are out. Tinder's seeing a rise in the mention of other dates like picnics, mini golf, and drive-ins. And I always tell my clients and listeners to get creative with your dates. We don't have to spend a lot of money on Valentine's Day or any other day. OkCupid daters are saying they want to spend less than $50 on a first date. Over half of them say that.
Such a good point. We even talked about this once on our daily show, that it was coined infladating.
Yes, infladating is real. And over 40% of OkCupid users globally are saying that inflation is impacting their dating lives. So people are choosing to split the check more. People are also looking for financially stable partners. Match says that 30% of their daters say inflation has made them want to seek out somebody who's financially stable. And when we look at, a lot of us are carrying debt. I get this question a lot on Dates and Mates. People are saying that their goal for 2023 is paying down their debt. So I don't know if we're looking for partners to do that for us or we're planning to do it ourselves, but it's certainly having an impact on dating and relationships.
And I know politics has played more of a role in dating in previous years. People are looking to be aligned in their values. That's something we've talked about in past episodes. So what's the latest on that? What does that look like this year?
Ooh, it's hot. It's still very hot. Voting is sexy. When I started coaching over 15 years ago, we would say, do not talk about politics on a first date. But now many daters are saying they want to know a partner's political view. OkCupid singles say they even like debating politics. That's a big shift. And the other thing that we keep seeing is this issue of the reversal of Roe v. Wade. And a lot of singles are saying that the overturning of Roe v. Wade will change their dating behavior. 78% of people on Match say this. And interestingly, the majority of women on OkCupid say they are pro-choice. Over 1 million people added a pro-choice badge to their profile. So this says that not only is it important, it's a filter. Women are saying that it is a qualification that you must be pro-choice. You must believe that I have the right to choose. If we're going to date and we're going to be intimate, that we have to be aligned on this issue.
Are you saying that it's both attitudes and wanting to be aligned as well as making decisions about sexual activity that they partake in?
Sure. We are definitely seeing that people are claiming they're going to be less likely to date or less likely to be intimate with someone if they do not know their stance on choice. Women are saying that they're afraid to date right now because of this. So it's very interesting as we see how this affects culture.
What advice would you have for people who may be starting to date again for the first time in years, maybe navigating a dating app for the first time? What would you tell them?
My tips are you've got to be yourself. You've got to have a profile that really gets the point across about who you are and what you're looking for right away. A lot of times we are swiping on the go now, or we're swiping with friends. We're swiping while we're out at bars and places where we used to meet people out in the wild, as my clients say. And now our attention spans are so short, not just in dating, but everywhere. So it's more important than ever to have photos that really attract the eye, draw attention, and get your story across.
So we know Valentine's Day is coming up. So for both singles and then maybe also for people in relationships, how do you recommend spending Valentine's Day and how do you view the holiday in general?
I'm really bullish this year on helping people save money. You can do something at home, cook a meal, which is romantic and also helps with communication with your partner if you do it together. You could do an art activity at home and do something creative in that way. You could do something nostalgic, which is really bonding for two people. So, going to the arcade or playing mini golf or doing something that really is fun and brings those childlike feelings of wonder and excitement back. We don't have to spend a lot of money. We do need to focus on connecting with one another, especially at this time and where we are in the world of dating and relationships. We really need love right now.
Such good information. Damona, what is your final thought or takeaway for dating in 2023?
Let's not put too much pressure on ourselves. We just came out of 2-3 years of a lot of pressure. And I see a lot of dating anxiety bubbling up again, and it doesn't have to be that way. So I would just say to anyone single, remember you're in control of your dating destiny, and you don't have to just go with the trends. You can carve your own path.
Still ahead, what's the top thing couples fight about? The answer might surprise you. It's not money or kids. We're talking about it with licensed marriage and family therapist Shane Birkel, who's also host of the Couples Therapist Couch podcast. Plus, he'll share the one thing to say to your partner regularly to keep the fighting and issues at bay. But first, let's take a quick break to thank our sponsors. The Newsworthy is brought to you by Rocket Money. The average person apparently has around 12 paid subscriptions. Think about that. If you think you're only subscribed to a handful of services, you might want to double check. And with Rocket Money, you can quickly identify and cancel all of your unwanted subscriptions. Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill, is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. Simply find the subscription you don't want and press cancel. And for a lot of them, Rocket Money will cancel it for you. So no more long hold times with customer service or tedious emailing back and forth. Rocket Money makes canceling subscriptions as easy as a click of a button. Over 3 million people have used Rocket Money, saving the average person up to $720 a year. And this year, I'm one of them. I saved over $50 a month by canceling a few subscriptions I forgot about within the first few days of signing up. Stop throwing your money away. Cancel unwanted subscriptions and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/newsworthy. That's rocketmoney.com/newsworthy. rocketmoney.com/newsworthy. And thanks to our other sponsor, Indeed. If you're a business owner that likes to jump to the news highlights, you'll love Indeed. With Indeed Instant Match, you can instantly receive a list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Hiring? You need Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. So don't spend hours on multiple job sites looking for candidates with the right skills when you can do it all with Indeed. Find top talent fast with Indeed's suite of powerful hiring tools like Indeed Instant Match, assessments, and virtual interviews. Finding great talent doesn't have to be a second job. You can reclaim your time and find top talent fast with Indeed. Join over 3 million businesses worldwide using Indeed to hire great talent fast. Indeed knows hiring needs to be cost-effective when you're running your own business. So visit Indeed.com/newsworthy to start hiring now. Just go to Indeed.com/newsworthy. Indeed.com/newsworthy. Terms and conditions apply. Cost per application pricing not available for everyone. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Okay, now to my conversation with couples therapist Shane Birkel. Shane Birkel, thank you so much for coming on The Newsworthy.
Hey, Erica. Thank you so much for having me.
I do want to talk about the positive and proactive things that people can do in relationships, but I am curious about some of the most common issues that cause problems in romantic relationships.
People have a really hard time with communicating with each other and telling each other things that aren't working for them. And what couples often fall into is something that sounds like blame or criticism or judgment of each other, instead of describing things from the first person about something that's not working for me.
And I know you've talked about the other side of that is conflict avoidance, just not saying anything at all.
I think many of us fall on one side of the spectrum where we're conflict avoidant and we tend to not be able to talk about things that feel stressful for us. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you might have people who want to talk about things all the time, but they have a hard time with boundaries. They just want to talk and talk and talk. And so what we want to do is try to work toward being in the middle. We want to be able to give each other feedback. That's really important. But we want to be able to do it with respect and coming from a place of sort of owning our reality, that this is something that would work better for me, and being able to listen when my partner is telling me something that's going to work better for them.
I can speak from experience, and I'm guessing a lot of my audience relates because we're all aware of how much time we have in a day, right? So what's your advice for people who feel like there's just doesn't feel like there's time between work and kids and all of these things to spend quality time giving each other constructive feedback? When you are together and alone, you just want to be positive because you have such limited time together. What's your advice about that?
So what happens more often than not is that for one person, they might have the experience that I just want to zone out at the end of the day. I don't want to talk. And if both people feel that way, then great, there's no problem, right? Maybe you can just watch a show together or do your own thing or whatever. But if the other person is saying, I really want to give you some feedback about something I felt today, or about something I felt wasn't working very well for me, or just talk to you about my day, and it's really helpful for us as couples, for us as human beings, to learn how to express those things, not from the point of view of, well, we should really talk to each other, using the word should, or what's wrong with you that you don't want to talk to me? Couples are supposed to talk to each other and connect at the end of the day, right? Which is subtle, but it's a little bit blaming, as opposed to me saying something like, hey, I'm feeling a little disconnected right now. I would really appreciate if we could take 10 minutes just to connect and talk about some things that happened today.
And it's sounding like it's really this communication of whatever the issue is versus these specific topics like money or kids or whatever are the main issues that couples fight about.
If I'm struggling with, let's say, money, because that's a good topic that comes up a lot. When emotions start coming into it, it starts touching on belief systems, it starts touching on values, and it starts touching on themes like, I feel like I'm not good enough as a provider, or I'm feeling like I did something wrong because I spent money in a different way than my partner wants me to. And so let's deal with some of those belief systems and emotions, and a more vulnerable conversation about, I feel really insecure as a provider. So when we start talking about the budget, I start getting overwhelmed and stressed and start, directing my anger at you, perhaps. It can be really helpful for couples to take a step back, and we'll get to the logistical conversation later, but we really need to learn how to express what we're trying to say from the first person, from this is my experience, this is how I feel, and for the other person to learn how to really listen and take that in.
So much there, including how people almost have to identify their own feelings and some of their own issues before you can apply that to a relationship.
any relationship is going to feel healthy to the extent that I feel healthy as an individual human being. Or in other words, if I'm with someone who's really mean to me, if I'm a healthy human being, I'm not going to continue tolerating that and staying in a relationship with that person. There's never a reason in personal relationships for anything that's less than respectful.
How would you describe a healthy relationship, versus one that's problematic?
When I think about couples who come to see me for couples therapy and it feels very problematic, one partner is basically describing the other partner as a perpetrator. Like, I am the victim and this is the perpetrator. The healthy relationship allows me to exist in the world feeling like I am able to have boundaries for myself. So if someone does something irritating to me, I have the ability to move into compassion for that other person. So me being a healthy individual human being, me being someone who's able to have a healthy relationship, involves my ability to have enough boundaries to say that person's bad day doesn't have to become my bad day. It's not for me to judge or to punish them or to criticize them. And that's particularly hard with our partner.
And would you say that there is a number one or most important thing to tell your partner on a regular basis before issues arise?
One of the things that gets lost when relationships start feeling unhealthy is we start forgetting why we actually care about this person. We start forgetting the reality that this is like the person who I care about more than anyone else in the world. I would practice thinking of something that you're grateful for about your partner every single day and telling each other. Even if you have a really difficult conversation, maybe before you start that difficult conversation, start with a couple things that you're grateful for about the other person, because that's going to really calm our nervous systems. It's really going to move us into a sense of safety and security with our partner. And it'll enable us to stay more likely be able to stay in a place of respect as we're dealing with this stressful conversation.
Valentine's Day is coming up. What's your take on that holiday?
Use it as an opportunity to really start thinking about what you're grateful for your partner, or write them a nice letter, or begin to practice some of these respectful communication techniques about how to be a good listener and how to do something that's at the service of my partner. I don't want people to get too caught up in the hearts and the flowers. That's not what love is all about. Love is about the hard work. But you can use Valentine's Day as a reminder to get back into that kind of work.
Thank you so much to both of our guests today. Learn more from dating coach Damona Hoffman on her website, damonahoffman.com, and check out her podcast, Dates and Mates. And listen to Shane Birkel's podcast too, The Couples Therapist Couch. You can also attend his Valentine's Day virtual event this Monday evening if you and your partner are interested in hearing more insights to improve your relationship. For tickets, check out the link in our episode notes. As always, listen here to The Newsworthy each weekday for our regular 10-minute roundups of the latest news to help you start your day in the know. We'll be back on Monday. Until then, have a great weekend.